What next after the petrol price hike? As NSC President Joe Ajaero did ask in a statement. But we've got two gentlemen joining us here this morning to weigh in on this new, yet another increase in the price of petrol in different parts of the country. Here in the studios, we've got Abubakar Darima, who is the president of IPMAN. Then joining us virtually, Dr. Ayodele Oni, who himself is an energy and policy law expert. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Yeah, good morning, Chambili.
Let me start with you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
All right. Let me start with you, Mr. Garima. So this petrol price hike, yet another one. Well, I don't know if it's to say how is IPMAN receiving this one, because I mean, I know you've spoken several times about how IPMAN needs to be part of the main players. But with this increase, what's IPMAN's perspective about it?
Well, you know, now we cannot call it increase, but rather we can call the removal of subsidy. Deregulation. Now deregulation has started taking place fully. So we independent petroleum marketers, we are not against the removal of subsidy, but the channel that NNPC is following, that is our main concern.
When you say the regulation is going on fully, and subsidy, is that to suggest that at the time the president announced this when he took office, up until now, subsidy wasn't fully gone and it wasn't fully deregulated market? It wasn't?
Yes, now today, the fuel is fully deregulated because already Dangote has started production and the arrangement by the government for Naira to dollar and Naira to the other petroleum product has started.
Okay, so what is it that Nigerians are going to see from now moving forward that was happening before, for instance, that won't happen again, now that you say this has now been fully deregulated and subsidy is completely gone?
Yes. So the changes that Nigerians are going to see now, one, we are expecting availability. Since there is no subsidy, it's not only the NNPC is the sole importer, other marketers too will participate. And the same thing in buying the products, other marketers too will buy product direct to Dangote. It's not only NNPC. So our major challenges now, we as independent petroleum marketers, is already we have an outstanding debt by the NNPCL, and NNPCL collected product through Dangote at a lower rate. That is, it's not up to 900 Naira, but they are telling us now to go and buy this product to them at the rate of 110 Naira in Lagos, 1,010 Naira in Lagos, 1,045 Naira in Calabar, 1,050 Naira in Port Harcourt, 1,040 Naira in Warri.
We'll connect, yeah.
Just before we go to Mr. Ayodele, I wanted to just quickly, because we didn't get here overnight, as I did highlight earlier in our opening conversation. We heard on Monday NNPC announce the fact that they were no longer going to be playing the middleman role. So before now, they had purchased in bulk and then distributed, you know, from their own depots to IPMAN. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But now NNPC is saying we're no longer in the middle, so you can approach those who are producing directly and go and buy. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if that is the situation, do you have a problem with that?
Yes, we have the problem in that because already we buy product through them, and so sudden when they make this increment, they tell us to go and add money and buy above what Dangote is selling product to them. So that is the reason why we tell them they should see how they will return our money back to our banks so that we can go direct to Dangote and buy, if that should be the case.
Sorry, what does that mean? You should add money to where? To them or to Dangote?
To them, yes, to them. Because presently, our money is with them.
For which month? For which?
For almost 3 months. We buy, normally we buy product direct through them.
Mm-hmm. And is it ahead or?
Ahead before loading. They are not selling product credit. Mm-hmm. We buy them. Anytime when they have product, they will call us to come and collect our product. Mm-hmm. So as a situation now happen like this, our money is with them. So we tell them they should either give us the price which Dangote is giving them, or they return our money back, then we go to Dangote and buy the product.
What did they say?
So that is what we are inside now. That is why you have been seeing this scarcity.
When did you tell them this?
Yesterday. We have started negotiating with them by yesterday, because the increment is just of recent, they do the increment.
So when did they tell you that they will no longer be the middleman?
We have been discussing. We tell them that we know that one.
It was coming, you could see it coming.
Because the fuel now is fully deregulated. Mm-hmm. So if it's fully deregulated, then automatically everybody will go and purchase the product.
Dr. Oni, let me ask you. Since you're well versed in the energy laws as well, so could you talk to us about this operations at the moment now? Are we going to regret this PIA if it kicks on full at this point in time?
Okay, interesting question. I think that first, what the steps being taken are according to the law. Section 205, I believe, 1 of the PIA states that prices of petroleum products, wholesale and retail, should be based on unrestricted free market pricing conditions. Now, that's what is sought to be done. Now, that said, I think it's about more the broader economic issues. As long as petroleum prices, products go up, it would affect everything else. I think that's more the concern than just complying with the law. So it's not that we will regret the PIA. It's just that I think implementation of so many things is happening at the same time. If we had done some of this over time, the PIA was passed in 2001. If we had done this, if I tried to do some of this since that time, and even earlier, during when the country was more prosperous, I don't think this effect will be felt this badly. But I think because of the broader macroeconomic issues, inflation, forex rates, lending rates, balance of payment, and those issues. So yes, it would seem like we're regretting the PIA. But I think what is being done is in accordance with the law.
But there are also questions, almost every part of this country. Yes, the PIA is there, but is there anywhere where it also expressly states? Because part of the question lots of people keep asking is, for instance, how many times have we heard people specifically say, how is the crude traded? What are the dynamics? What are the factors? And is it transparent? Because several people tell us, if they are really transparent in that value chain of crude trade, we shouldn't be getting petrol at this price. That it should be way cheaper if they are transparent to Nigerians.
Okay, so I tend to agree with you in part. Partly that transparency generally ensures that people have more comfort. Now, the oil and gas industry for a long time has been opaque, and that's been a challenge. That said, if you want to leave things to free market conditions, it then means that pricing will be consequential to your cost and your cost of production. And recall that, and we better start praying that the dispute between, I believe, Israel and Iran doesn't become full-blown, because we will then have crude oil prices go up, and people have estimated $100. Now, that said, still, it's a regulated industry, and the templates and how some of these pricing is reached should be made public. So I think the fact that the trust quotient is very low. When it comes to government, governance, and leadership in this part of the world, can also be responsible for some of these issues and some of the complaints. Yes, it's been the case that there's been a lot of opaqueness in that sector, and that makes people very uncomfortable, regardless of what you say. So I'm not one that believes that the prices, if you want to be free market, I think this is about what it should be. And I've always said that, even on your program, the prices were likely to go up than go down, even with the Dangote, as long as food remains an international commodity and is priced internationally.
There are several dynamics to all of this, why people think that it should be lower, which we'll talk about probably subsequently. But let me bring this to you, Elijah, since you're IPMAN, your association brings in products, you deal with this product. Has your group ever, for instance, said, why did they perpetually tell us you have the mother vessel, then you have the daughter vessel. So the mother vessel comes, and then by the time it lighters, it takes several days or maybe hours. So we know in between that period, a lot goes on. There are several costs that they factor in, which they haven't completely been open about it. Has your group ever said, since we always bring in petrol, since it's the mainstay of the economy, why can't we eliminate this daughter vessel power? Why can't you just get the mother vessel to berth properly here, dredge the area, reduce that cost component, and then it will impact on the ultimate price?
Well, in fact, all these issues that you have mentioned is for the past. But presently now, since the oil is fully deregulated, that issue, I know it will be over.
How?
Because we independent petroleum marketers, we may be fully engaged in the business. Before, it's only an NPC is bringing this product. At the same time, it's only an NPCL is loading, has an offtake in Dangote refinery.
I'm sorry, if you engage, are you telling us that you will only deal with the mother vessel, you don't need to relate to whatever you say is the daughter vessel to eliminate that cost component?
No, you know, any vessel we can use it because we are being allowed to go and import by ourselves. So we don't have any challenges on that issue. Normally, the reason why you see we have a lot of challenges, this PMS before is only NNPC that can be able to bring it, and they are the only people that can be able to buy through Dangote. But with this current arrangement now, whereby Dangote will buy crude in dollar, and he will sell PMS and other product in Naira. Because we independent marketers, in most of the cases...
Is it buying in dollar or buying in Naira?
Sorry, Dangote buy crude oil in Naira.
Yeah.
And we too, we buy his commodity in Naira. So with this present arrangement, we just what we are after. Let Dangote be giving us this product direct, not through the NNPC. And just what happened now, what I have been saying, NNPC, like now, let me cite an example, like in Lagos. They say we should come and buy this product at the rate of 910 because of this increment. With our money that stay in their hand for over 3 months, they say we should come and buy 910. But in their filling station, in their main filling station, they are selling this product at the rate of 998 Naira. Because they are getting it in Dangote at a lower rate.
How much?
They are getting it is closely to 900 Naira. That is what they are getting.
Do you know the exact price?
Actually, I cannot say the exact, but later I will communicate to you and give you the exact value. But it's around 800 to 900 Naira. So
some people argue that that's because of their own negotiating power with Dangote. That if IPMAN too were to come together as one body, perhaps they will be able to negotiate something lower too. Yes,
we accepted with that one, but now our money is with them. So we tell them they should either sell it the way Dangote is selling to us, or they should return our money back to our various accounts.
How much are you asking them to sell it to you?
We are asking them to sell it at least the way Dangote is selling. We are Nigerians. We are the same marketers like they are.
But what is the way? Which way exactly?
The way
800?
No, it's 800 and it's somewhere between 800 to 900, just like what I tell you. So by the time when they sell it, then there will be a market competition. We come and compute. We may decide to sell our own here, like the way they are selling here in 800 and 900 and 1,030 naira. We may decide, our marketers may decide to sell it at the rate of 1,020 naira or 1,010 naira, because any reduction in money is something.
What's the
difference? It's a difference, because if you calculate the money, it's not a small money.
I want to know, first, can you tell us what patterns you have noticed? Because, I mean, we've seen NLC, excuse me, that's Nigeria Labour Congress, come out to decry this, to say this is not acceptable. But I want to ask you, as somebody who is very much involved selling to, customers, Nigerians directly, what patterns have you noticed in your filling stations since the price of fuel started going up?
No, generally, people complain. Whenever there is an increment like this, people used to complain to say it's higher and there is hardship. But we always, what we can tell the Nigerian masses, since the government has already decided, and they mentioned the reason why they are trying to remove this subsidy. So at least let's cooperate with the government and create another way of reducing hardship. Like the way the government now is going on CNG. Definitely, CNG is much, much cheaper than PMS. And we two independent petroleum marketers, we key in to the program.
So you spend a lot of money converting
to see that
almost $1 million plus,
yes,
depending on your car.
But just of recent, the government has started giving free charge of kits so that people will start converting.
What I want to know is, how has patronage been at your filling stations?
Normally, if there is changes like this, the patronage has to become very low. It's low compared to the way people are consuming before.
In spite of the scarcity, because we're seeing a few queues surfacing here and there.
Yeah.
The patronage is still low, or there's no availability? Which one?
No, the patronage too is low. There is in some of the filling stations still there is fuel. But what bring it, as we independent marketers, we cannot be able to load, because since they make this increment, we didn't load a single truck, because we have to pay cash before we load the product. And the cash that already is with NNPCL, they refuse to load us those. Since we have already paid the product, they refuse to load us. They tell us to come and complete the difference. And completion of the difference is not a small thing, because there are some formalities which at least we have to follow before we complete. And secondly, when we come to realize that this is the price that they are getting this product through Dangote, and they are selling below in their pumps, in their filling station, they are selling below the price that they give us in the depot. So it's a great challenge, because when we go there, we buy, but when we add our transportation money, you may come at the end of the day that you will see that our price is so higher compared to the way they have been selling.
What I want to know, because you complained about how much is NNPC owing you and your members of your association?
Roughly now, they are owing us almost getting to 15 billion naira.
Almost 15 billion naira.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Ayodele, you have spoken about how the price of petrol could still go up. I mean, if we have entered a full deregulation regime now, there are those who argue that Nigeria is not yet ripe for a full deregulation regime. Do you agree with them?
I don't agree completely with that. I think in ripeness is a different kettle of fish from whether the economy is performing well at the moment. Right? If we had even done this 10 years ago, maybe it would have been better off when we had President Jonathan. The economy was quite prosperous at some point during his tenure. So ripeness, I think we're ripe. But whether the economy is doing well enough to take on all of these policies at the same time, floating the naira, deregulation, all of this is what I query. So it's not a matter of ripeness, it's a matter of whether this is the right time in terms of the economy. Ripeness, maybe even 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago when we had Obasanjo or had Jonathan, we would have done this without so much of an issue. And incidentally, it's the current party played a role, the current ruling party played a role in not doing that at that time. So my view is that it's not a matter of ripeness, it's just that the economy isn't doing well at the moment.
So, well, I see you. I see that you've already spoken to a few other media houses here. You have said that. Well, maybe I should just take what it is that you have. Yeah, you propose that government should partially defend the naira with foreign exchange in the short term. This is something that Pengerson too has also advocated. They are asking for special rates for special exchange rates when it comes to crude oil and when it comes to energy matters. Is it something that are you saying exactly the same thing with them in that regard, or is this something you are saying for the generality of the Nigerian economy, that the central bank should go back to maybe managed floats for exchange rates?
My view is that for certain aspects of the economy, you can't have that, because in every economy, the government does step in once they see that there's likely to be crisis, particularly when it comes to energy prices. They've done that in the US, they've done that in the UK, even very recently, when energy prices were too high. So I think there's need for the government to step in. Otherwise, you got the economy tanking and struggling. It would continue to be a challenge for people, and you do not want crisis. So I think that might be a way to go about it. But I'm not sure this government intends to do that. I think what I see is free market, full-on capitalism. So yes, that's my view, what you have stated. Manage float.
Is it just, sorry, I didn't quite get your answer to my question. Is it just in the area of energy, or is this generally?
I think energy, because energy makes everything else work in the economy. Once energy prices go up, it affects everything else. So I think for energy, at least, they should intervene by doing that.
All right. I think Ayo is also there. Ayo, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Let me stay with you, Dr. Oni, for a moment. And straight question. Would you say that the petroleum industry is now fully deregulated?
Sorry, can you come again? Is that for me?
Yeah. Yes, it's for you, Dr. Oni. I said, would you say that right now, with this new development, the petroleum sector is fully deregulated?
That's my view, that it is fully deregulated. Unless, of course, there have been situations where they say we fully deregulate and then they go back, unless there's a reversal. I think it is at this moment.
Okay, well, I'll ask you that question again in the light of something Chamberlain said earlier. There's a report out now, Transparency and Accountability Index 2024, something like that, that says that the NNPCL is one of 510 agencies that are scored very low on transparency and accountability. So if we are not sure of certain things, how can we really say for sure that certain things have been done? So what then is the consequence of this full deregulation, and for how long will this painful experience people are having gonna last?
That's indeterminate, because beyond deregulating, you'd have to look at the broader economy. If inflation doesn't, if the inflationary trend doesn't go down, if production doesn't increase, if a number of factors, if forex doesn't improve, and if crude oil prices continue to go up, then we will be in for quite a while, unless government then does intervene, which governments do world over. Now, when you speak to transparency, I think it's the role of the regulators, the midstream, downstream petroleum regulatory authority, to ensure that people play by the rules. If you say you've deregulated, then let IPMAN, let everybody be able to approach refiners that can do both primary and secondary refining. Secondary refining, moving from NAFTA to PMS and the likes. And then they'd be able to buy, and regardless of what the NNPC does, they would even be able to look at issues around competition and market power. You know, that's what the regulator should be doing. Maybe we should be asking the regulator some of these questions in my own view. But I think that regardless of what the NNPC does, if the regulator does his job, with time, people would find alternatives. You may even, and with CNG and the gas alternative the government has been pushing, we will begin to see things balance out. But I think that prices are not likely to be what they ever were, unless crude oil prices go down. Our government does want to sell at a discount.
So something that you just said before I go to Mr. Gariba, something that you just said now about the need for production. Now, full deregulation on means federal government has more resources and the state governments also would have more resources on their hands. What are the things that you would propose need to be done so that this experience, this difficulty that people are going through right now is going to be meaningful?
Okay, three things. I always say something. Poor people abroad, the poorest people abroad will be as miserable as the average poor Nigerian, save for three things: cheap credits, excellent infrastructure, and good social safety programs. I'm not speaking to giving people 5,000 naira. I'm speaking to ensuring that you have data and you have stuff like unemployment benefits. If you can have those three things, great infrastructure, social safety nets, and you ensure that people can get cheap credits, the lots of people would improve. You have an infrastructure would include having public power supply. If you have available adequate public power supply, the economic merit arrangement where you use a lot of your hydro, which is cheaper than thermal plants, would ensure that even prices go down. So I think if those issues, if government then puts money into that and encourages research and development, works with the academia to ensure that we can have new goods and products, those areas where we are strong, we strengthen further. You know, so that our balance of trade, balance of payment would improve. And I understand that 40% of our forex before now went into buying petroleum products. So that should ease the pressure on the naira by that same margin. And the revenues then generated by government or saved by government should then be put into all of this, in my own view.
Okay. Well, Mr. Gariba,
a lot of Nigerians will improve.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Gariba, let me ask you. Now, the NNPC Limited is projecting that the pump price at their own fuel stations will be above 1,000 naira outside of Lagos. What would be your speculation for different cities in the country?
Well, in fact...
Please go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Well, in fact, the issue is that NNPC presently, up till now, they give us this price at the rate of 1,010 in Lagos, 1,050 naira in Calabar, 1,045 naira in Port Harcourt, 1,040 naira in Wari. Therefore, if we are going to carry it in various places, it depends on the distance because we have to pay transportation money, which maybe, let's say from Lagos to Abuja, by the time when you add 17 naira for transportation, then you add the margin of the profit and other expenses, let's say 13 naira. So by the time when you add 17 naira and 13 naira, you have 100 naira. So by the time when you add 10 naira, that is 1,010 naira plus 100 naira. So the product will be somewhere like 1,110 naira. But our appeal is, presently, we have an outstanding debt with the NNPC. And we come to realize that the sector is fully deregulated. This NNPC, they are getting this product through Dangote at the rate of 898 naira per liter. And the same NNPC tell us to come and buy this product at the rate of 110 naira in Lagos. So if you look at that margin, we have almost 198. By the time when you subtract 1,898 naira by 1,000, you have a difference of 102 naira. Then plus the additional money for 1,010 naira, you have 1,012 naira, which will be just like a profit for the NNPC. So if this sector is fully deregulated, what we are claiming, NNPCs should either load us the way we have paid before, or they should allow us to go to Dangote, source the product direct through him.
Two things on this matter. First, some time ago you said you were going to go directly to Dangote to negotiate. That's IPMAN. What's the update on that?
We have already started the negotiation, and almost we are at the final conclusion. That one is not a problem. So what we are just saying now, because you know that time, they didn't start this oil dollar to naira, naira to dollar.
Yeah.
So now they have started by 1st October, as what the government has already promised, they fulfill their promise. So what we are trying to say, whatever amount of money Dangote is selling to NNPC, let him sell it to that rate to IPMAN.
Okay, number two, if Dangote is getting crude from NNPC,
yes,
it's not, he has eliminated the cost, landing cost, from the mother vessel, daughter vessel, the insurance, how much it takes to lighter, all of those costs are gone. Why should you be buying, why should he be selling to IPMAN or NNPCL at 890 something naira? Why?
No, it depends on the calculation. You know, they normally put
What are the calculations?
Well, actually, I cannot say, but Dangote will be better to answer that question. But all what we know, the amount that he is selling, we were not arguing much.
No, but you're going to be buying from him.
Yes.
So you, of course, you want to buy cheaper.
Yes, quite.
So you will make this argument. You're in business to make profit. So you will ask him those questions. So is it going to be cheaper for you to import? Because Petron is saying, look, we will keep importing. So what will be the difference of those who are importing and he who has the refinery and is blending his product here in the country, getting crude from NNPCL?
But you know, if you import it, how much do you think it will come to your country?
No, if you're not importing, if you're getting crude from NNPC Limited, you're eliminating some costs. Why is it not reflecting? Or is it reflecting? Maybe you should tell us.
No, to our own small calculation, we know it's reflecting. If you can be able to give NNPC at the rate of 898 naira.
How is it reflecting?
Well, it's reflecting because through our calculation, we can't realize that they said the landing cost is 1,000 naira as of yesterday.
No, but before he started selling to NNPC, it wasn't 1,000 something.
No, but you know, the dollar rate has a little bit changed. You know, always this thing is changing. It depends on the rate of the crude oil and the rate of the naira.
Notwithstanding the cost of the dollar, we're saying that you're not importing crude. Or at least you're getting from the local refinery here. So isn't some costs being taken off the bottom line?
Okay, me in a nutshell, I cannot be able to answer this question because our own argument is buying the products, not production.
Dr. Oni, talk to us. I mean, I've heard you say several times, you mentioned the regulatory body, that's the NNDPRA. Do you think enough is being done in terms of ensuring that at least some of these costs that are being taken care of by getting crude from NNPC Limited reflects on the overall price of petroleum products in this country?
Okay, good question. I think what he's failed to say is that there was always still subsidy. If you import, it would be more expensive than what Dangote is selling. At the point we were importing, there was still some subsidy. If you remember, the CFO of NNPC was saying it was a price differential. He tried to call it something, but it meant if the landing price was 1,000, they were selling it less than that. There was still subsidy, but it wasn't full-on subsidy, maybe a 20-30% subsidy, unlike what we had before. That's my view. We've always even still had subsidy, even after the president initially removed subsidy, but I guess when he saw the way the economy was going and we're going to be in crisis, they just quietly maintained some subsidy. That's my view. Now, in terms of the regulator, I have a few issues with the midstream and downstream. I think the Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission is doing a great job. With the midstream, downstream petroleum regulatory authority, much more needs to be done in terms of regulation, quality of what comes into the country. If you look at the Petroleum Industry Act, there's even a quality, and ECOWAS quality specifically stated in that act for petroleum products coming into the country in terms of parts per million and certain other qualifications. So I think they need to do more around ensuring that the quality is what it should be. Well, but in terms of pricing, I think what Dangote is selling is in order.
Well,
it will have been more expensive to import.
Even from some of this, because the byproducts, the bitumen, the leaded, so there's several questions about all of this, but I want to thank both of you for coming on this morning. Dr. Ayodele Oni, energy law and policy expert. We've also had Alhaji Abubakar Garima, national president of IPMAN. Thank you both for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
Business Morning comes up now.